Parfait. Donc, bonjour tout le monde. Hello everybody. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue à cette deuxième journée de la série de mini-conférences « Un monde d'expérience » présentée par l'Attestation UO Global dans le cadre de la Semaine de l'Éducation internationale 2018. Je suis Dali Brisson et je suis coordonnatrice du programme étudiants-chercheurs invités du Centre d'expérience en recherche de l'Université d'Ottawa. Notre centre offre la possibilité à des étudiants de tous les cycles d'effectuer de la recherche ici au Canada ou ailleurs dans le monde. Que vous étudiez à l'Université d'Ottawa et que vous désirez de faire la recherche dans un autre pays, ou que vous soyez un ou une étudiante de l'international intéressée de faire de la recherche sur notre campus, notre centre a une opportunité pour vous. Our center's mission is to promote and facilitate and increase research opportunities for registered and visiting students and to support the university community and its international partners. Si vous aimeriez nous rejoindre, envoyez-nous un courriel à CER-CRO@commercialuottawa.ca et notre centre vous guidera à trouver une expérience de recherche qui vous permettra de vous démarquer dans votre champ d'études. Maintenant, à l'occasion de la Semaine de l'Éducation internationale, nous avons invité des conférenciers de la communauté universitaire à nous partager leur histoire en lien avec l'éducation internationale. Professors, students, and support staff will share this week on how international education makes a difference here and abroad, the activities that support intercultural and international learning for all of us, and the impact of our internationalization efforts. Joining us today is Dr. Josephine Eroa, who is a fellow of the West African College of Nursing and of the American Academy of Nursing, a professor and Loyer de Silva Research Chair in Public Health Nursing in the Faculty of Health Service and at the University of Ottawa. She is also a senior investigator with the Nursing Best Practice Research Center at UOttawa, a founding member and past president of the Health Association of African Canadians. As a nurse, midwife, international board-certified lactation consultant, a researcher, and an educator, Professor Eroa has worked in various capacities within the Canadian healthcare system and abroad, including Nigeria, over the past 3 decades. Her program of research is grounded in over 25 years of clinical practice in the areas of maternal, newborn, and child health, global health, and nurses' work-life issues. She has also examined the work life of nurses from various social locations in the context of diversity. Dr. Eroa has served on the Community Health Nurses of Canada Research Committee, Board of Directors for the African and Caribbean Council on HIV/AIDS in Ontario, Board of Directors for the Canadian Public Health Association, and the Stephen Lewis Foundation for HIV and AIDS in Africa. Donc, sans plus tarder, j'invite Dr. Eroa à maintenant prendre la parole avec Janet Kemé, étudiante en doctorat en sciences infirmières et infirmière autorisée de la Ville d'Ottawa.
Thank you for the opportunity to join you here this morning. I'm delighted to talk about my work and the work we've done to bring in not just international students, but to internationalize our research program and working with partners in different countries. So I'm just going to start by answering some of the questions that was posed. We'll talk about what international education means. We'll talk about the impact it has in the world, here in Canada, here in Ottawa, and abroad. And we'll also talk about some of the benefits. I know I have a few minutes, so I would share just some highlights about these key questions and what does international education look like in my own practice. I will reflect on that, and one of my PhD students is here with me to also share her own perspective of what that journey has been like for her as somebody who moved from another country. She's a Canadian, but has lived in different countries. And so international education, we're really talking about internationalization of higher education, so university education. And what does that mean? That intentional process of integrating an international, intercultural, or global dimension into the purpose and functioning and the delivery of post-secondary education in order to enhance the quality of education for students to enhance the quality of research opportunities that students have. And so when we think about this, it's what are we doing here at the University of Ottawa to enhance the quality of education for our students? What are some of the opportunities we create to enhance the quality of education for our students and postdoc or all trainees? I talk about even my research staff being involved at a different country level, being able to coordinate projects and communicate with people in different countries. And so this involves actively promoting students' ability to move around, to be able to go abroad to collect their research data. Janet will tell you more about that of her travels to Kenya to do data collection there. How do we make that possible that they still participate in activities at the university while they're doing that? Whether it's calling into class through Adobe Connect or being able to participate in team meetings that is being held here with other colleagues, joining webinars while in the field collecting data. She will share some of that, providing excellent teaching and research opportunity. How do we offer our classes so that students can call in if they have to travel abroad for some of these experiences? And mostly also very important is fostering that strategic partnership with various stakeholders abroad, whether it's government, your other academic institutions, community organizations abroad, that sometimes become really good opportunities for our research to flourish there. And so what are some of the impact? Internationalizing education has impact both for the student, for the university, and I think even globally. Because we're talking not only finances that it generates for the university, but the kind of knowledge that students gain when they are in classrooms, an inclusive learning environment where people can bring in their multiple diverse perspectives into the classroom, into discussion. I think sometimes when discussion is happening in class, you see the kind of learning and thinking, how students are stretched to think beyond their own cultural views, to begin to see how different people understand the same concept they may be learning. And I think that in itself enriches us as a group, not a particular student, and really position students as global citizens, as people living in the world and can move into any place. One of the things, I never really took the time to think about my work as internationalizing the education. But when I started reflecting because of this invitation, and I thought, oh, all my PhD students have somehow gone abroad for some experience. One went to Tanzania to do data collection. The other one went to Nigeria. These are Canadian students. And one who didn't go abroad during her time with me, that's Shannon. She's now working abroad. Her first appointment, she just defended her thesis. Her first appointment is in the Middle East. But then I thought, okay, how did she get this? I have a 3-country study right now, CIHR-funded research study on infant feeding practices among women living with HIV in 3 countries, in Ottawa here in Canada, in Nigeria, Port Harcourt University in Nigeria, and also in Miami in the US. This student was responsible for the literature review of that CIH proposal. And so she was so immersed in the literature. We published that literature, and she just became really intrigued by the differences, even in terms of national guidelines and policies, how it's implemented here at home in Canada and how it's implemented in Nigeria. And she's continued to pursue that desire and motivation now to learn more about other culture, and she's taken her first academic appointment abroad. She's doing that now. My student who is preparing for defense in January has also lined up something abroad. And I started thinking, okay, they really want to understand more about what's happening outside Canada to bring that experience home and in their own practice. Am I doing with time? And so what are some of the benefits of this? I've actually kind of highlighted some of the benefits. When you educate students to be exposed to diverse perspectives, you kind of stimulate their interest, to understand difference, to work with across those differences and bring all of that. And that exposes them to this employment opportunity. So employability is one of the benefits that I see international education bringing to our students, whether they're Canadian students or the students who come from abroad to study here. I had also a student who came from Nigeria to do her PhD with me. When she graduated, she was the valedictorian of a graduating class here at the University of Ottawa. And she spoke passionately about the experience this has provided her, because she was one of those students that was able to go back home. She had children at home. During data collection, spent nearly a year at home, but was able to participate in classrooms, activities here, join even some of our just educational interactive seminars through webinars, and sometimes she even participated in activities where she can invite her colleagues. So it became something that also had a ripple effect to her peers, other lecturers in her department. And when I go back to visit Nigeria, I often go to her faculty to also give presentation and build on some of those things that she's talking to them about. Oh, we did this interesting qualitative study. I go back, all the faculty want to learn about qualitative study, and then I build on what she started and start building. So we have small groups of actually research teams that she started, and we continue to mentor from here through our online platform, the social platforms that we have. And so you can see not just employability of students, Canadian students going abroad, but also students from abroad taking that back home. And that particular student actually is doing a one-year work in Uganda. She's from Nigeria. So you can see even South-South movement happening through some of that exposures. Why? Because when she was here also, she was exposed to international research internship that took her to East Africa. And she's finished. She left West Africa and went to East Africa to work for a year before going back home. And so really it has global impact when you think about the capacity building that we do by this international education. So graduates gain opportunity in their selected areas or chosen occupations, and when they do that, they are able to contribute to the workforce, and that contribution to the workforce goes beyond the benefit beyond the individual student, but to even global economy. Because if we can have them moving and being able to gain employment in different places, then international education really benefits everyone. Okay, how can we continue to sustain international education in our programs? We need to create inclusive environment where people feel that the expertise they bring is valued in our classroom, where they can use their own individual experiences to continue to engage other peers. They don't feel like their ideas are inferior to others. I think that's one way that we can do that, but also developing an international curriculum where we can bring in pieces from different parts of the world and we can make it relevant to our students. I think we have about 15% of our students at the University of Ottawa are international students. And so if we make the curriculum relevant to them, so when we're teaching both the pedagogy of teaching and the content, how we teach, it's relevant to them, then they will take that back home. They will see themselves as being part of that curriculum, and it would help them to take that back. Finding creative way to teach content, which is what the pedagogy again, looking at that, but also looking at how we can advocate for policies that support our international work. I am so excited that we're beginning to highlight this international piece, because I remember a few years ago, I tried to teach one of my course. We actually organized for a whole cohort of the course to be from Kenya. A group of PhD students in nursing were going to join. The day of the launch of the course, there were so many technical difficulties or other issues, not just technical, but other things that has to be screened, that we had to stop the whole cohort of about 10 students from participating in the class. So I'm sure we're way ahead of that now, and we'll continue to build to see how we can actually have people from different parts joining into our classrooms, and it would just enrich the experience for everyone. So I'm going to stop there and have Janet, who is here with me, to join in the conversation to share some of her own experiences. I have a number of some of my own personal reflections, including just going in and having these workshops abroad. When I visit, again, facilitated by my PhD students, graduate students, doctoral fellows like this, but creating that opportunity both ways. So students, they come here and enjoy that. I've had to sponsor international student exchange. That's how one of my first PhD student came to Canada, through the DFA, the Department of Foreign Affairs, then International Student Exchange. So she came in and enjoyed the opportunity, finished her master's and applied for PhD, and she's now a lecturer back in Africa. So you can see the global capacity building that can happen through this kind of work. I'm going to stop there, and Janet, you take over.
I'm a PhD student for Professor Josephine Eto'o. My research is on experiences of nurses providing postpartum care in rural Kenya. My first degree was in Kenya. My BSN degree was in Kenya. I did my master's in the US, and now I live in Canada, and I'm doing my PhD in Canada. When I came to Canada, I still had in mind the experiences that I had while I was a student in Kenya, when we were doing our mentorship and clinical practices. And I thought there was something that needed to change around it. Reading through the literature and looking at the Kenyan health system, I still believe that the experiences of nurses still need to be changed. So I looked through the University of Ottawa professors. I was looking for somebody who had experience with international health system, and I found Professor Josephine Eto'o, who was glad to take me as a student. When I came as a student to the University of Ottawa, my first class, it was a big class of 8 students, which I thought it was really good because it gave me that I felt comfortable. I did not feel alone going through my journey because we were sharing our experiences. I got my admission scholarship with the University of Ottawa. I don't think that would have been possible to go through my course without that scholarship, and I'm really grateful for that. And the university has continued to support me. When I went to do my data collection in Kenya, I was in constant in touch with Professor Josephine Eto'o. I did not lack that guidance, and I'm glad for that. Having this experience in Canada and also studying abroad has developed me both as an individual and also added that knowledge to my nursing profession. So I have a supervisor in Kenya, and also I have a supervisor here in the University of Ottawa. Having that direct knowledge, I wouldn't say knowledge exchange. Yeah, it's really important, and has really built me in looking at healthcare in a global way, and trying to look at those different health systems, comparing the Kenyan health system and the Canadian health system. It's like day and night. But it's working for me because I'm able to work in a Canadian health system. At the same time, I'm able to study Kenyan health system and try and see which, I'm trying to see which ideas I could bring back home and try and change the system so that it's inclusive. So I think the university as the internationalization of the University of Ottawa has really provided me that opportunity to have that knowledge exchange. Thank you.
Thank you. Donc, merci Dr. Edowa et Jeannette pour ce beau partage. Nous allons maintenant ouvrir la période de questions. S'il y a des questions, oui.
So, hello, I'm Sylvie. Dr. Edowa, you mentioned how important inclusion is in internationalization. And you had such nice stories to share. I was wondering if you have a story about your experience as a teacher, as a professor in university, with inclusion in your classroom or in your research groups. Does it happen naturally? Do you have to intentionally create that inclusive space so that everyone feels that they're sharing and feeling valued for what they have to bring?
Good question. I would say there are times when it happens naturally, because as a Black woman, I have lived the experience of sometimes feeling like the other. And so you intentionally look at, it's everyone engaged. How can I facilitate everyone feeling like they're part of this classroom? How can you make sure that, and that's why I use a critical lens in my teaching, in my research. Every project I do, we use community-based participatory research approach. In my classroom, I use critical lens to make sure that I can see when somebody is feeling excluded, to make sure we can examine our positions of power and how power dynamics might affect people even in your classroom. When you're talking about issues that make people feel uncomfortable, who feels uncomfortable, how can we all bring our multiple perspective and feel valued? So I do sometimes do it intentionally, but it comes spontaneous too. Because I remember my first teaching job at the Housing University many years ago, and I got my teaching evaluation, and he says, "Oh, she's very knowledgeable, but she has a thick accent. You have to decode that first." And I thought, oh my goodness. And so what did I do? Every time I have my first class, I tell the student, I speak with an accent. Do you know you speak with an accent as well? And I have to work towards understanding your accent. I said, so when I speak and you don't understand me, you express yourself. Because sometimes I say one thing. So if I say my name is Josephine Etowa, you say, huh? I say Josephine slowly. And Josephine. I have used 3 ways of how do you try to express yourself? The university actually has given me to you as an asset to learn how you're going to communicate with the many Canadians who speak like me, that you may meet in your workplace, that you may meet sometime in the healthcare setting. When that person is sick and really wants you to understand what they're saying, you will remember, because that your patient might be me. And the university has given you an asset to listen to different accents, whether it's more the European accent or an African accent. It's ways of understanding and communication across boundaries. And so I use it in my work as well. Thank you.
Any other questions? Perfect. Donc, c'est maintenant l'heure de clore cette conférence. Nous aurons 3 autres éditions à chaque matin cette semaine. L'horaire est disponible à l'entrée de la salle et puis sur la page web du Bureau international. This event has been recorded and will soon be available online on the International Office website for you to share with your colleagues and your friends. N'oubliez pas d'être à l'affût des prochaines période d'inscription de l'attestation UO Global. Laissez votre nom au kiosque d'information ce matin ou écrivez un courriel à uoglobal@commercialuottawa.ca pour manifester votre intérêt. A special shout out to the programming team and the marketing and communications team of Student Life for their collaboration in organizing this event. Merci de votre présence aujourd'hui, and once again, thank you Dr. Edowa and Jeannette.